approximately on the agenda this morning is the adoption of the agenda. I'll ask members.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just wonder if maybe it would be unnecessary if you cover the chairman's comments, but the presentation and the results of the St. Catherine's meeting with that motion that was called, that was on the table in the city of St. Catherine's. They're going to cover it in your, or I'll ask it as a...
Yeah, so we also presented in as well. I'm going to bundle those two comments in my chairman's statements, and if you have any questions at that time, we'll be more than happy to entertain them at that time, Member Timms.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other members with respect to additions to the agenda? Seeing none. Oh, sorry, Stu, go ahead.
Just to identify the letter correspondence from Councillor Johnson that's on your table.
Yes.
The board requested that at the last meeting, and that's the first step in a process that we'll get into later.
Thank you for that. And we will be adding that to our correspondence package. Yes, as directed at the last board meeting, thank you for spearheading that, Member Beattie. Any other members with additions to the agenda? Seeing none, are there any changes in order to the agenda? Seeing none, I need a mover to move the agenda as is. Moved by Member Beattie, seconded by Member Beattie. All those in favor of approving the agenda as is? Opposed? And the agenda is carried. Thank you. Declarations of conflict of interest. At this time, I'll ask any members. Seeing none. Presentations. Right now, I'll ask CAO Mark Brickell to come forward and administer the oath to board member Paul McPherson. Paul, welcome.
If you can speak into the microphone, that would be great. And if you can raise your right hand.
I, Paul McPherson, being the recently appointed NPCA board member representative for the town of Lincoln, do solemnly swear to comply with the NPCA board member regulations 1, 2, 3, and 4. I swear to, as a board member, keep all confidential information and relevant knowledge, including, but not limited to, that relating to properties, staffing, and legal matters confidential, both during and after my term, to not divulge, disclose, provide, or disseminate confidential information to any third party at any time without written authorization from the board chair. Furthermore, I understand that all confidential information shall not be used for any purpose other than its reasonable use in the normal performance of duties for the NPCA. Finally, I acknowledge that these practices are essential to the operation of the Niagara Peninsula Conservation Authority, and that well-being and privacy of our customers, staff, and partners. Thank you. Welcome. Thank you, Sandy.
Second copy as well.
Thank you, Member McPherson. And at this time, I'm going to ask Member McPherson if he is interested on sitting on any of our standing committees. So Member McPherson, we have 6. Niagara Peninsula Conservation Authority Advisory Committee. That one, I think the terms of reference are actually filled with that one. I'll ask you Budget Steering Committee, Audit Committee, Watershed Floodplain Committee, Niagara Peninsula Conservation Foundation, Source Water Protection Committee Liaison. I can provide you that list, Member McPherson, and if you want to look at it and check the terms of reference and just see what your schedule will allow, we can make that appointment at our next available board meeting. If you've already had that opportunity, we can make those appointments today.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I have not as yet have that opportunity, so I would appreciate that if I could take a look at those and we can finalize it next meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. We have no delegations for this particular board meeting. We will move on to administrative business. The approval of draft minutes. The full authority meeting held September 20th, 2017. Are there any questions or comments with respect to those board minutes? Seeing none, I will, CEO Brickle. Seeing none, correspondence. I will ask that the correspondence from Councillor Brenda Johnson from the City of Hamilton be added. Are there any questions or comments with respect to any correspondence items? Yes. Member Quirk.
Did you want a motion to receive them? Because I'd like to speak to the letter from Councillor Brenda Johnson, if that's okay, and ask questions for you to.
Yeah. So let's move those in block. Can I get a mover? Moved by Member Kasperset, seconded by Member Beatty. Those items of correspondence are moved in block. Speaking to individual correspondence items, Member Quirk.
Sorry, I just wanted to confirm with, first of all, thank you to Member Beatty for spearheading this, and Member Kasperset's an opportunity to take a historical building on is something that we've done in the past and is something that adds to the flavor of our conservation areas. What is the next steps, maybe through you to Councillor Beatty? Are you going to continue meeting with her to determine it, or do we want to refer it at this time for a staff report to see what's involved? I wasn't sure where in the agenda you wanted to take care of that.
Member Beatty?
The next step is item 8 on the agenda. Once we pass that and we create some staff time, we'll strike a committee and we'll move forward.
Member Quirk?
That's fine, so we can discuss it then. That's great. Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions or comments with respect to the items of correspondence? Seeing none, all those in favor of receiving those items of correspondence? Opposed? And those items are received. I will need a mover for each one of these individual items. I will read out the first item, 4.3.1, that agenda item 531 being a memorandum dated October 3rd, 2017 from Natalie Green, Project Manager, Niagara River Remedial Action Plan, respecting the Niagara River Remedial Action Plan, open house, invitation be received for information. Can I get a mover for that, please? Moved by Member Timms, second by Member Kasperset. Questions or comments? Seeing none, all those in favor of receiving that for information? Opposed? And that is carried. The next item agenda, that agenda item 5.3.2 being a letter dated September 19th, 2017 from Laura Babanco, Regional Clerk respecting the Town of Lincoln, representative on NPCA Board of Directors be received for information. Can I get a mover for that, please? Moved by Member Beatty, seconded by Member Joyner. Questions or comments to that item? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? And that item is received. The last item, that report number 103-17, respecting the Niagara Peninsula Conservation Authority, NPCA Tree and Forest Conservation Bylaw, Q3 status report be received for information. Mover for that, please. Member Kasperset, seconded by Member McPherson. Questions or comments to that report? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor? Opposed? And that is received for information. Yeah, you know what? We're going to go back. I'm going to take care of business first, and then we'll final up with that. Where are we right now on the agenda? Okay, I see. Sorry, I apologize. We skipped over, and that's because these have been... Yeah, there's some confusion on these pages. It's okay. All right. So with the board's indulgence, we're going to backtrack just a little bit, but we will respect that item of business that we just took care of. Thank you for that. We are at Chairman's remarks. So my apologies for going out of order. These two-sided copies are a little confusing here. So to begin with, first I'd like to welcome our newest member, Member McPherson. Thank you, representing the town of Lincoln. He will be a welcome addition, and we look forward to working hand in hand, not only with yourself, Member McPherson, but certainly your entire council and Mayor Easton as well. Respecting some of the things that we've been working towards over the past month, and believe me, board members, it's been a very, very busy month. As you know, the Auditor General declined this board's offer to conduct a value for money audit. As you can see in the latest newspapers, she's been very, very busy representing the interests of Ontario taxpayers with very, very important files on her desk. And we respect her decision immensely. I would like to thank members of the board for their contributions and their efforts over the past month, respecting the many, many initiatives that the NPCA has undertaken, starting with the John Turner Gala. And I'm going to have Member Beatty speak to that after my comments. It was a fantastic event. It was well attended, and thank you for all the board members and certainly staff that played a role in making that event, our signature event, such a huge success. We have had conversations with DSBN, and we're in the process of formalizing that memorandum. And the whole goal moving forward is to make sure that our properties are fully utilized to the fullest extent for outdoor learning opportunities. Not to get too deep into the pedagogy of the DS mandate, but it's a proven fact that getting our children out into nature, learning in outdoor environments, is critical to their growth and education, and we want to be a part of that. So we're working towards those discussions right now with our DSBN partners, and I will keep this board fully apprised as we move forward with that. Many of our board members had the opportunity to attend the 2017 biennial tour put on by our partners, Credit Valley Conservation and Conservation. It was an incredible event of learning and experiencing some of the great initiatives that those two conservation authorities to accomplish. We look forward to hosting in 2019, and what we're going to do is learn from the experience that we have and certainly build on the tremendous success that they've had. So about the opportunity to host in 2019 and really showcase the Hamilton, Niagara, Haldeman watershed. It's an incredible learning opportunity, and we're going to be very excited to welcome our 36 Conservation Authority partners to Niagara and certainly showcase what we've been able to accomplish and what we do here. I would like to thank all the members that participated and took part in a lot of the educational tours. They were very, very informative. So thank you for your commitment, and certainly thank you for your time and energy. I do want to thank the members that attended the Delta Hotels in partnership with Worth for the planting of 100,000 trees. It's a noble and very important initiative. I saw Facebook postings from Member Quirk getting down and dirty and planting trees. And again, anytime that we can do our part to increase the tree canopy, to green Niagara and the Niagara watershed, it's an important goal that we want to be a part of. So thank you for all the members that took part in that great event. This past couple of weeks, we've had opportunities to make delegations and presentations to two local councils, one being St. Catharines, the other one being Wainfleet, just last night. They were informative, they were educational, and it's a great opportunity to learn and hear the concerns of our municipal partners and hopefully impart our comments and certainly present facts and evidence in order for those councils to make informed decisions moving forward. So it was a great opportunity. I want to thank Member Timms for his comments at St. Catharines City Council. We're going to take those comments away and certainly prepare for what's coming next. I'd like to thank Member Jeffs for her contribution and the comments that we made to her council last evening. We do understand that there's a report coming from St. Catharines. We look forward to contributing any way we can. So by all means, Member Timms, you can convey that to certainly your partners at St. Catharines Council and certainly staff there, that we will avail ourselves of any information that they need or require in order to formulate their response and their report to their council. We look forward to doing that. Same goes to Member Jeffs. Member Jeffs, if your council or staff requires any more information with respect to the presentation we made last night, by all means, don't hesitate to ask, and our staff and certainly the board will avail themselves. We have had incredible success with our Thanksgiving Day Festival, and I'd be remiss if I didn't mention the incredible turnout once again that we had for this past Thanksgiving Day Festival. Incredible job by staff. Adam and the rest of the volunteers from the NPCA staff, incredible job. Thank you to board members that came out and supported the event and volunteered their time as well. I don't know what the numbers are right now. I'm sure we'll be getting a report shortly just to see where we're at with respect to attendance and how well received this edition of the Thanksgiving Day Festival was. But again, an incredible weekend that really highlighted the Balls property and the incredible artisans and craftsmen that decided to show up and certainly highlight their wares. So thank you, everyone involved in that initiative as well. So as you can see, we have a lot of great good news stories. The board has been very active, staff has been very active, and on the heels of this meeting, we'll have another incredible announcement shortly later on this afternoon. And I look forward to sharing that with the general public. One last comment, I did have the opportunity to tour parts of Niagara-on-the-Lake with Austin Kirkby. Austin Kirkby has been a very, very strong advocate of the agricultural sector and the agricultural community. Her biggest concern is certainly a concern amongst all our 12 municipal partners, and certainly in Hamilton and Haldimand, and that's invasive species. She took me on quite an extensive tour of a lot of the Phragmites that are growing up on the sides of roads, in culverts and ditches, and I will say that she's a passionate advocate for the agricultural community, and she was at a loss for words as far as what are we going to do moving forward. It just seems to be getting a lot worse, and there's no eminent solution in place. So I would encourage any of the board and certainly staff to reach out to Austin, and if you want to take the tour, she'll be more than happy to take you on the tour and just highlight some of the current concerns that she has moving forward. Again, it's something that the province has to be a partner in, and I'm talking all levels of government. We have an incredible inventory of native species, and when we let invasive species come into those very sensitive environmental areas, they choke out the life. And they choke out the biodiversity. So it's a growing concern, and I'm hoping that through the cooperation of our partner municipalities and certainly levels of government, that we can somehow get a handle on the species that's slowly creeping into Niagara. So those are my comments. I will ask if the board has any questions or comments to my comments. Member Timms.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I want to, first of all, I guess, ask that the presentation that was made by yourself and CAO Brickell to the City of St. Catharines be included in included in the minutes of this meeting or forwarded to the board. I'd be pleased to forward the minutes of the
Forward to growing that event and moving forward. I do want to acknowledge this is a huge staff and board member effort, and to find out just to see the operations team, the strategic initiatives team, all the volunteers, the staff who come out, the people like Carrie and Gina and others who who come out and make this, this event such a success. Really a great team effort all around, so we look forward to sharing the full numbers with you. Also wanted to make note of the fact that Member DeFrucio actually came out to both the presentation in St. Catharines, where he spoke very passionately in support of the Conservation Authority, and also attended last night in Wainfleet, and we appreciate that support as well. And I would say further to the biennial tour, we really did appreciate the number of board members who took time to participate in that tour. It was another great example of how different conservation authorities apply the Conservation Authorities Act in a different way, responding to their local needs and local priorities. So it was really great to see the differences that shape up within different jurisdictions. We are really looking forward to the 2019 biennial tour here in Niagara in celebration and recognition of our 60-year anniversary. And I think it's going to be a really great event, so we look forward to working to build that one as well. Those would be my comments, Chair.
Thank you, Mark. Any question or comments to our CAO? Member Beatty?
Just a comment, I forgot to mention it in my earlier comments. There is the possibility from the Escarpment Commission, they've had in the past a one-day conference called The Leading Edge, high-quality speakers related to the environment, in particular as it relates to the UNESCO World Biosphere, and there may be the possibility of co-locating that event with the biennial tour. Going to have further discussion with their communication staff. It's not a certainty, but it's a possibility. There is potential there.
For that, Member Beatty, and to our CAO's comments, it was actually a great learning experience at Conservation Ontario, and it really highlighted the difference between restoration work and program work in a urban setting rather than a rural setting. So here in Niagara, a little bit more rural, the work that we do. When you're talking about Mississauga, Oakville, a lot more urban, and I think that was really highlighted with the projects that we were able to see. Oh, Mark, go ahead.
I apologize. I had intended, and pleased to do so now, to introduce two new team members, Krystal Caputo and Erica Navarro. Both have come to us in the communications roles. They've done a phenomenal job. The work they are already doing, you're going to see a lot of it later today when we bring forward our announcement. And they put great work into that, but they are going to be phenomenal additions to our staff. So we welcome Erica and Krystal.
Thanks, Mark, for that. Absolutely welcome aboard. And one of the concerns that many of our partner municipalities have always had is better communication. So that's something that we've taken seriously, those recommendations and certainly that initiative. So welcome to our two newest staff members that will help us make sure that we better communicate and better dialogue with our partners in the watershed. So thank you and welcome aboard. Any question or comments for Mark? Seeing none, we will move on in the agenda to business for information. Is there an appetite to move those items in block? If so, can I get a mover for that, please? Moved by Member Beatty, seconded by Member Joyner. Those items are moved in block. Any question or comments to any items listed in business for information? Member Timms.
Mr. Chairman, these are items 5.1, 5.2, 5.3, 5.4.
Correct.
Okay, so the forestry, tree, and...
Thank you. The forestry and tree conservation bylaws status as of the third quarter. Do we have any indication of what the plan is for the next quarter on that bylaw? And if perhaps through you to CAO.
I'll refer that to Mark. It's a staffing issue, so certainly he may be able to adjust your question. Mark?
I'm sorry, I missed the question.
Well, I understand this bylaw or this report takes us up to the end of the third quarter. I understand we're considering some changes in that area for the fourth quarter, or what is the status of our tree bylaw enforcement for the fourth quarter?
So
I will-
changes or no changes?
So I will remind, any answers have to be void of any mention of
Yep.
or HR-related matters and identifiable individuals. So if our CEO can answer that question in a very general term, be my guest.
Yeah, obviously there's an identifiable individual because there's only one person in the program, so I think we'll have to wait till closed session before I can answer it. Although there is, I want to assure everyone that he will continue to be doing the role he's doing, so. I don't know
Okay,
how
I
to-
understand that it's a difficult question for the moment, and but the concern's been raised to me about what how the region's tree bylaw will be enforced in the fourth quarter, and I think the report that you've presented here is very informative and helpful about how it has been enforced and how well we have done that job up to this point. So there is, of course, the what happens in the next quarter. A concern that has been raised to me, and I look forward to some kind of response.
Yeah.
If we have to go in camera to discuss it, or we have to, it's a regional issue because it is a regional bylaw, whatever needs to be done to be able to respond.
So again, in the spirit of openness and transparency, it's a regional policy that has been entrusted here at the NPCA. I don't know when we started administering that program, but we are in conversation with the region. It'd probably be inappropriate to speak on behalf of the region right now, but for the benefit of everyone listening, and certainly for the board members, that bylaw isn't going away. It's still going to be in place. Certainly the question is always, who's going to be administering it, and those are the discussions we're having right now. But take comfort in the fact that the bylaw will still be enforced and in effect, but the determination of who's going to be implementing it, that's the conversations we're having right now. So any further discussion with respect to staffing issues, we'd probably have to go in camera to discuss those things, Member Tim. So I hope that answers your question a little bit, and we can move forward. Okay. Any other question or comments with respect to those items? Oh, Member Beatty, sorry, Stu.
Question, comment on corporate resources, third quarter, page 10, Bimbrook Conservation Area, the fish study. Has the fish study been communicated to the Bimbrook Conservation Club? And if it hasn't, would you please do it? Because I believe it was the Conservation Club that initiated this process. So I'm going to go away looking at my good friend over there and saying, yes, it's been communicated, or it's going to be communicated.
Mr. Barrick?
Thank you, Chair. To the member, you're correct that this request did come from the Glen Conservation Club, so this is in response to that. So there has been ongoing dialogue and communication throughout the process. With respect to the current status, I'm not sure where the dialogue is. I know there's been dialogue, but I will go back and ensure that there's an update given if it hasn't already. Thanks.
Is that good? Okay, any other questions or comments? Member Campion, welcome. Seeing no other questions or comments, I will ask these reports be received for information. All those in favor? Opposed? And that is carried. Oh, Mickey, did you have a question? Go ahead, Mickey.
I just think we owe Chairman Quirk a great job, him and his committee.
Great comments. So, Budget Chair, Quirk, absolutely. I echo the comment. Any other questions? No? Okay. Now we will be moving on to, if I can find my place here. Are we at 5.4, Deb? Or 6.1 right here? Okay, so I will draw the attention of the board to business for consideration. That's where we're at in the agenda. Standing committee reports. Budget Steering Committee, October 11th, 2017. I will read the full motion, and then I will need a mover to put that on the floor. That the full Authority Board of Directors approve the minutes for the Budget Steering Committee meeting held October 11th, 2017, and the recommendations contained therein, and further, that the following 2018 apportionment costs identified in Chart 1 be forwarded to the participating municipalities in accordance with Section 2.1B of Ontario Regulation 670/00. Can I get a mover for that, please? Moved by Member Quirk, seconded by Member Joyner. So that Standing Committee report is on the floor for questions or comments. Questions or comments? Member Timms.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
This motion includes the capital, does it? 'Cause I'm fine with the operation, it's just the capital. I don't know what's doing that.
Like, we can deliver that first and then maybe take questions?
Yep, so while we're asking questions, what we'll do is we'll have the presentation. You still have the floor after that presentation.
Thank you.
And we'll move forward with any other question or comments from board members. So who's making that presentation? Yep, David? Welcome, come on up.
Supported draft capital budget, or power generation fund supported draft capital budget of approximately 270.
Without speaking to our partners, I can't unilaterally impose confidentiality as opposed to open. So I'm going to respect that these are confidential documents, just out of deference to our partners who insist that they be confidential. With respect to your motion, in order to address that, the ruling is that,
or if we change where it comes out of the particular funds, it's not going to change the assessments for the operating budget we've already.
I would recommend that if you want to make the motion to go in camera right now to discuss your particular concern with the OPG funding, we can do that now before we take care of any other business.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think that's probably necessary because we are going to approve minutes of the Budget Committee where this issue was raised, and that resolving it at that point, then the Budget Committee's work can be either settled today or reconvened if it's we're not able to settle. But I would appreciate the opportunity to go in camera, and because unless you're going to allow other discussion on the OPG issue without going in camera.
Okay, so presently I have and I'm going to assume that you're making that motion. Do you have a seconder? Member Timms? Member Joyner, seconded. The motion on the floor is to go in camera to discuss the confidential arrangement between OPG funding. All those in favor? Opposed? And that's carried. We are now in closed session. Sorry, we are now out of open session, and we will reconvene in closed session very shortly.
budget be amended, be accepted with the following amendment.
Fell swoop? Fell swoop.
Fell swoop. I've got one fell swoop.
Put that
I'm
in.
doing, yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would like to support the amendment motion. It does accomplish what I was looking for in terms of those two projects and maybe help establish the principle around the OPG funding for the future. Thank you.
Thank you. I will be in support of this too with one maybe small friendly amendment, and that is the fact that in number 2, include a list of all projects and allocations to the 4 categories identified in the OPG correspondence as it relates to the Welland River floodplain. I don't have the correspondence just yet. Give me a second to find it. Reason why I asked for that is that if you look at the in some of our terms of reference here, it does relate to the ecological health of the river through an expanded restoration program.
Sorry, I'll consider that friendly, but the idea behind this is that the idea is for all projects to date that have been using the funds, so some of those may not fall into the... So I think the whole, in principle, it makes sense, but the idea is that we want a list of all the projects going back to when the funds were first received and do sort of a full internal audit of those funds to make sure where they fall into those 4 categories.
That's fine. That's fair.
And Mr. Vice Chair, at this point, I would move the apportionment vote and ask for a recorded vote.
Go ahead, Mickey. You're going to do it in November, next meeting. No, next meeting. Okay. Motion. Okay. Motion to adjourn. We're adjourned. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. We're good.